A-level English language is for anybody who enjoys exploring a text with lots of depth. So looking at it through lots of different lenses. We move on quite a lot from GCSE into something called the frameworks, and it's really starting to unpack text in a much more kind of sophisticated and linguistic sense. It's also for anybody who's interested in things like psychology and sociology, because a lot of that plays out in the text that we study. Anybody who's got any kind of interest in gender studies, that's also something that we look at. And the way that language is constantly evolving to kind of meet and kind of keep up with the changing society that happens around us. So it's a really different course to GCSE, but it's also really fascinating. So if you are the kind of student who's interested in looking at a text and really kind of interrogating it, then this is probably for you. It's worth knowing that it is fundamentally different. There are a few crossovers. We do journalistic writing and we do language analysis, but at A-level we're looking at it through a theoretical lens, and we're looking at it through the frameworks of linguistics, and we're really thinking about how language is functioning as a social tool. And actually it's more like the science of the science of language and the science of English, whereas GCSE is much more to do with kind of analysis and comprehension. So it's a huge step up. And I think it's worth bearing that in mind if you're considering taking this course. So in the course we do lots of different topics. The first one is frameworks, where we look at kind of the different linguistic levels. But then beyond that we look at things like language and gender, we look at language and power, so for instance looking at kind of the language of politics, we look at the influence of technology on language, and that's all covered in year 1. And then in year 2 we look at how language has changed over time, and my favourite unit, which is how children learn to speak, so this is a child language development unit. So the course is assessed in 2 ways. There's a 20% aspect of it that's coursework. That's an independent language investigation where students can choose whatever they want to go and investigate in terms of language, and they run that over a period of about 3 or 4 months. And then they do an accompanying academic poster which kind of captures the research for a different audience. So that's 20% that's covered in year 1. And then the other 80% is split across 2 papers, 40% on each paper, and they're done at the end of year 2. Yes, so we've run a trip for the past few years going to Aston University to speak to some of the linguists there. So Dr. Robbie Love, who they cover quite a lot in the course, is actually one of the guest speakers at that particular event. We get to go and kind of go along, listen to what they've been researching, find out about kind of the cutting edge aspect of linguistics, but then they also do some help with the A-level content as well. So that's one of the trips that we run. So the English language course at A-level can take you in lots of different directions. So previous students that I've had have gone on to do a linguistics degree and actually moved into linguistics as a science to potentially go into like forensics. Other students will go on to do kind of a language degree potentially, which could take them in lots of different directions, potentially into speech therapy. But a lot of students that take language want it because they want to have something that's still developing their written skills and their communication skills, and that can apply to lots of different jobs, but more specifically things in like the media or PR, marketing, those kinds of roles. And then I've had lots of ex-students go on to become English teachers themselves.